What's the weirdest thing someone casually told you as if it were totally normal? I was chatting to a woman in the grocery checkout line and she commented that she'd lost a lot of weight. It was on topic. Since I need to lose weight, I asked her how she did it. She said her husband, now ex, has poisoned her with antifreeze over a period of time. She barely survived. I wasn't sure what to say. So I said that I didn't think I'd try that method of weight loss. She laughed. Oh, my parents fight every day and my father left in a rage this morning saying he was going to jump in front of a train. I hope he comes back before I get home. He did before. Was like 10 or 11 and riding public transit and had some dude in his 30s sits next to me, putting me so I'm in the window seat and they're in the aisle seat so I'm trapped, and starts talking about how he just got out of prison for raping his brother and how you shouldn't do that just because someone makes you angry. Told in a way where they thought they were passing on really helpful life advice. Was so surreal I didn't even realize how disturbing it actually was until the first retelling of the story. A guy once told me how he loved the feeling of wearing casts. So he'd put casts on himself for days or weeks on end, even if it meant he couldn't drive and would be stuck at home the entire time. He'd use vacation time just to wear full leg and arm casts. I had a college professor on the first day of class say that she is obsessed with Q-tips and cleaning her ears and that her family has to limit her to 3 a day. I've had 12 DUIs, 8 concussions and have died twice. Can't wait till I can drive again. This time I'll take life more seriously. Once I get this ankle bracelet off and my license back. IDK. What was the most alarming part of the sentence? I know a guy. We don't talk often, but due to business we cross paths on occasion. More or less every time we talk he asks if I'm ready for the total societal collapse coming next week, or Tuesday, or at the end of the month, and so on. I just tell him that it's not gonna happen. He usually then asks about my crystal ball, so I remind him that I've been right every time. A homophobic guy. The first no. Being gay is a choice. I said something like, okay, choose to be gay for a day, an hour, a single minute if you can. Guy: that's easy. I'm attracted to men all the time. I just choose to only like girls because I'm not gay. Me. Lo, these many years ago, I was walking on a long, narrow, and mostly empty path on campus. As I crossed paths with a literal stranger, I mumbled a courteous greeting, as we do in the South. Me. How's it going? Female student. I just recovered memories of being molested. Not that being molested is normal, and definitely not that recovered memories of childhood abuse is normal, but the way she told me was so casual it threw me for a loop. Husband, 30, and I were pushing our shopping cart out of the grocery store when a random man, who honestly looked like Dumbledore, looked at my husband and said, "Take my hat. You're gonna need it. You'll be bald very soon." Obviously my husband didn't take it. It was super odd of him to say because my husband had a full head of hair. 3 months later, my husband was diagnosed with a condition that made him lose all of his hair. Weird coincidence that they have 6 kids, all with different dads, and each dad is in prison. When I was in high school, I was sitting next to a friend on the school bus. Mid-conversation, he spit his gum into a wrapper and put a new piece of gum in his mouth. When I asked him why, he said that his tooth fell out in the gum, but he didn't want to interrupt the conversation, so he just nonchalantly switched out the pieces. A story from a friend in Colorado. Someone once asked, "Could you watch my wolves? I can pay you in weed." There's a lot to unpack in that question. My ex-girlfriend, who I genuinely believe is a clinical sociopath, told me once about breaking the nose of a neighborhood girl who was developmentally disabled when she was 10 because she was bored and the girl was annoying her. She told the story like she understood it was wrong, but I got the sense that she knew she was supposed to tell it that way. Not that she agreed. When I worked retail, a girl I worked with, maybe early 20s at that point, was telling me about her good friend who had just gotten pregnant because she passed out at a party and woke up with a guy on top of her, just as he was finishing. The girl asked where he came and he just callously replied that he came inside her. The girl was now faced with dealing with pregnancy basically completely on her own with no money. My friend coworker told me this story with a tone of, "Can you believe this asshole?" but in a resigned way. At the level you might tell a story about someone not holding an elevator or not tipping on a large bill. When I asked if the girl had called the police, she looked at me like I had two heads. I said, "Because that's rape?" And she gasped and said, "Oh yeah." It was clearly the first time it had occurred to her that it was an actual crime that could be reported and not just something assholes do sometimes that you just have to deal with. So I'm guessing her friend didn't think of it either. That was a depressing day. Someone was telling me I have nice eyes and they wished they could cut them out to keep them. I was leaving the grocery store when one of the employees came up to me and said, "You remind me so much of that guy in Colorado that killed his wife and kids." Me. Well, that's pretty disturbing. Her. Do you know who I'm talking about? Me. Not right offhand. Her. You should Google it. You look a lot like him. I'm always following true crime shows. And I finally got summoned for jury duty. It's very exciting. Me. Okay. Yay. That's great. Have a nice day. Hasty exit followed. My coworker wasn't feeling well and proceeded to tell in detail about her vaginal discharge. She seemed slightly miffed when I politely told her I was sorry she wasn't well. But that level of person detail was not appropriate. Why would you want your coworker to have those images in their head? Why? Caught my former brother-in-law shooting up. Told me he has diabetes and he has to administrate it. In his vein. Thinking face, thinking face, thinking face. As a kid I used to casually tell people my stepdad liked to go in the garage and film himself getting high and then dressing up in women's clothes and putting makeup on. Poorly. My mom hated that.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.